We started the live stream.
And I think I just saw, so Councillor Uma, if you can hear us.
Hello?
Can you hear us now?
Hello?
Yes,
Can you
I
hear
can
us,
hear you.
Councillor?
Yeah.
I think she's still having problems hearing us.
We are waiting for Julian to rejoin us.
Okay, back in the room, fellas.
Yes.
Hello?
Hello,
Can anyone
Councillor
hear me?
Uma.
We can hear
Yes.
you, Chair.
Can you hear us, Councillor Uma?
Right.
Hello, Councillor Uma.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
We can hear you, yeah.
we can hear you. Sorry, the meeting did not go to live just now. Can we all start all over again?
Sorry, Debbie, do you want us to rejoin, everyone to rejoin, or?
Everyone.
Okay, so we'll all leave and we'll all rejoin.
I don't think that is necessary. Let's wait for Councillor Uma. If she can't hear us this time, then I think Councillor Kwon can start the meeting until Councillor Uma sorts out her issue.
I was going to say, it seems to be isolated
The
to Councillor Ume.
Councillor Uma
Everyone
in
else.
waiting room now.
Yeah, she's just joining, so let's see whether she can hear us.
Adrian, I think the suggestion was just to restart the meeting rather than the Zoom meeting.
Yes, the meeting
with
should
you.
start
Okay.
from the
Yeah,
beginning,
yeah.
introducing everyone, because the live stream was not on when Councillor Uma was speaking.
Yes, sorry about that.
Councillor Uma, can you hear us?
Now.
Hello, Councillor Uma. Hello. Can you hear
Can
us?
anyone hear me?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes. Hello.
Something's wrong.
Hello. Hello.
Hello?
Hello.
Oh,
I think Councillor Kwon should start the meeting. We need to email her, and I will do it now, the chair's notes. Councillor Kwon, are you okay to start the hearing until?
That's fine. I have a copy of the chair notes
you
as
do?
well.
Okay,
I
great.
just wanted to double check though, if Councillor Ume can't join us though, I'm happy to host, but she will need to somehow connect in order for us to actually have the hearing with 3 councillors.
The hearing can go ahead with 2. The quorum is 2. I think what Councillor Uma should do, should log on, sort out the issues with her audio, because she can't hear us with her PC. Councillor,
No problem.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm
So
happy to
I will
start.
notify Councillor Ume to log off, but the meeting can go ahead with 2 councillors.
Okay. Do you need me to start and do the introduction again?
From the beginning, please, yes, because the live stream was not on.
Okay, let me know when to start with the live stream.
You can start when you're ready. Live stream is on.
Okay. Welcome to tonight's Licensing Subcommittee meeting. My name is Councillor Bora Kwan and I will be chairing tonight's meeting. The meeting is being broadcast live on the Council's YouTube channel. Hopefully I don't lose connection because it's the second time we're trying. So I would like to remind all participants of a few housekeeping points. Please keep your microphones muted unless you're speaking. Please keep your camera turned on when you speak at the hearing. Please note that the chat function has been disabled. If parties wish to add any additional information other than at their allotted time to speak, they must use the raise the hand function so that they are not missed. I will also ask that members keep their questions and comments brief and to the point. I now move on to item 1 on the agenda. Item 1 is apologies for absence. We've received none. Item 2, declarations of interest. Do members have any declarations of interest?
No, Chair.
None from me. Okay, and I would like to now move on to item 3, which is the hearing for Bridge Baker at 811 Fulham Road, London, SW6 5HG. I'd like to ask everyone participating to introduce yourself as I call on you. We should have with us Gary Nafray.
Yes, hi, I'm here. Beyond, I'm the business owner of Bridge Baker.
Thank you.
Store.
Okay, Lorna.
Present, Chair.
Lorna McKenna is a licensing officer. Goethe.
It's here, present, Chair. Good evening.
Okay. Goethe is the council's legal officer. And Julian.
Julian Sweeting, proxy for Sarah Sweeting, residents at 811 Fulham Road.
Thank you. Right. Before we begin, I can confirm that the main agenda was published and circulated to all parties on the 15th of May 2023. Before we consider the application today, may I quickly explain the procedure the committee will follow? So we will hear from the following in this order. The licensing officer, Lorna, will introduce the application, the objector, Mr. Sweeting, and then finally the applicant, Gary Nafray. Okay, usually each party will address the committee for a maximum of 5 minutes. Following the presentation by all parties, the committee may ask questions of any party or other person present at the hearing. No party has a right to ask questions of any other party at any time during the hearing. Following the presentation and questioning, each party will be allowed a maximum of 3 minutes to sum up their case or representation. And then the committee will retire for deliberations. Upon its return, I will announce the committee's decision. In the interest of time, please keep your remarks as concise as possible. Okay, so can I ask the licensing officer, Lorna McKenna, to introduce the application?
Thank you, Chair. On the 3rd of March 2023, Bread and Beyond Limited submitted an application for a new premises licence to be granted in respect of the premises known as the Bridge Baker, 811 Fulham Road, London, SW6 5HG. The applicant has applied for a new premises licence for the sale of alcohol both on and off the premises and late night refreshment indoors, which is as detailed here. The licensable activities which have been sought are the provision of late night refreshment, both indoors and outdoors, Mondays to Saturdays, 2300 till midnight. The sale of alcohol, both on and off the premises, Monday to Saturdays, 11 till midnight, and Sundays, 11 till 11. On the 21st of March 2023, following correspondence with the licensing team, the applicant amended the original licensable hours and activities to reduce the concerns of local residents. So the application that we are considering for grant today, which has been amended to the following. The provision of late night refreshment, both indoors and outdoors, has been removed entirely off the application, as late night refreshment is only licensable after 2300 hours. The sale of alcohol both on and off the premises from Monday to Sundays from 11 a.m. till 10:30 p.m. and the opening hours to the premises are 7 a.m. till 11 p.m. Further to this amendment of hours, on the 23rd of March 2023, following correspondence received from the police, the applicant agreed to add further conditions to the licence should it be granted. During the consultation period, the licensing section received 4 representations from local residents. No responsible authorities submitted a representation during this period, and the application was advertised in alignment with the regulations of the Act. There has been no further supplementary agenda submitted. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Okay, can we now hear from Ms. Sweeting representing the objector, Sarah Sweeting? You have 5 minutes.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for your time, everybody. Our concerns as residents, and I think they remain still with the original concerns of other residents on the street, regard to significant change of use and associated potential noise and disruption to what is typically a quiet street from the main road. And my concerns, and shared with my spouse, are related to the off-premises and on-premises period up to closing time, and then the subsequent spill out afterwards. Now that's related in somewhat to what I see in behaviour outside other premises, albeit established premises, the Durrell Arms, for example, or even the old Oktoberfest, who've been there for some many years. And I don't believe there's any argument about their legitimacy for a license in that space, and the same for the White Horse, for example. But what's arriving here for us to our residents is something we haven't seen in 20 years, outside of the removal of the license from the bar that was established across the road. So our concern is that at closing time, or up to closing time, there will be a flurry of activity for purchasing pizzas, buying alcohol, people socializing outside on the street, whereby most other establishments at this point will be moving customers away or restricting any socializing to indoors only. And I don't believe that the bakery has the capability to enforce that move on of surplus customers, and the potential for consuming pizza and or alcohol, smoking, socializing outside of the closing time of the establishment is my concern.
Thank you. Okay, can I now go to the applicant, Gary Nafray, to give a presentation? 5 minutes again, please.
Sure, thank you. Thank you, everybody, for their comments and a good summary by Lorna of the application. It is very unfortunate, by the way, that we did use an external consultant for the original application, something which we did because I didn't know any better. And unfortunately, he let us down very badly, and he did the application all wrong the first time around, without my approval or my consent, because it's all done online through the portal. And apparently it's only much later on that when William was in contact with me that I realized that he had applied for things like late night hours and stuff like that, which was never the intent. So at the earliest possible time, obviously we adjusted that to suit what was really the business needs, which is to be open till 10:30 at the very latest. Now, I've heard the sort of the points that Julian has made. We're in a very difficult position because we actually have a current business which has been there for 4 years with a very, very similar license. And we've never experienced any of the issues that are possibly a concern. We're very much a family business. You can see from the look of the place, it's not a bar, it's not dimly lit, there's no loud music. We're not kind of attracting the kind of clientele which would maybe socialize and make noise or hang around outside. I mean, to be honest, the site that we're at right now, we have a much bigger space outside, a much bigger terrace. But potentially you could have 20 people standing there. But we've never had a problem because we're just not that kind of business. And we are very much a bakery at heart. The reason we have an alcohol license is because to complement the pizza offering, as a percentage of our alcohol sales, or of our total sales, the alcohol part of it is absolutely tiny. It's like, I wish it was bigger, but it's like barely like a fraction, like maybe 1 or 2% of our total sales volume is alcohol. And it's a very limited wine list. It's a very well curated wine list that we've got. It's not the kind of list that's going to attract the budget people either. I mean, it's not cheap. It's not expensive either, but it's not like we're selling cheap alcohol for 21-year-olds to come and buy. I don't think I've ever seen anybody trying to come and buy alcohol from us who's under 18, for example, ever. Are you guys open? So, you know, it's very much, the whole offering is very much deemed to be in conjunction with the pizza. And that is the only intent. So I'm struggling to understand I know maybe the other businesses on the street might have had problems with maybe being, noisy at night, etc. I've mentioned before that I live locally. I live 2 streets down, and I'm very aware of the kind of concerns people have in this area. And I can assure you that we are not in that category at all. Well, we'll look around the corner. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we are now at the point where committee members can ask questions of any party about the application and issues that have been raised at the hearing. So I will first go to, firstly, Councillor Ume, are you able to hear us?
I can hear, and thank you for sharing and taking over from me. Yes.
No problem.
Yeah, thank you. And we forgot to introduce Julian, because he's in the meeting as well, just in case we need to ask him a question.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, thank you, Chair.
Well,
Councillor Ume, do you want to start with any questions that you have?
Perhaps, excuse me, perhaps Councillor Ume can take over the chair now.
yeah.
Sure, please.
Thank you.
I'm happy for you to,
Yeah. So can I start if any member of committee have questions to ask first? Okay. Dominic, Councillor Dominic Stanton, do you have a question to ask?
Yes.
Okay.
Just a few quick questions. Actually, my first question is a technical question about the meeting. And I'm not sure who it should be addressed to. So if the appropriate person could please answer me, which is this. I see that Gary is actually in the premises, and I would like to take advantage of that, if I may, for her to just show us around the inside of the interior. But no, if you stop for 1 second, Gary. So right. I need to know first from whoever it is appropriate to answer if I can ask that. Adrian, would that be you? Or?
I'd ask Goethe to confirm as well, but from my point of view, I mean, we can arrange site visits of licensed premises before a licensing committee. So I don't know with all parties if they consent to that. I don't see it being a problem, but I'm not sure what you think about that, Goethe.
Yes, I agree with Adrian. The parties who objected to the application need to be advised or give their consent. And I think Julian's is here. So and I think Julian is speaking on behalf of the other objectors. I need to double check how many people objected to this application first.
4
It's
people.
it's my spouse.
Sorry, how many people, Lorna, can you remind me?
4 in total.
4.
Julian's acting as proxy for his wife, Sarah.
Yeah,
who
and then
put-
we have 2 other objectors who are not here tonight. So I think it would be submitted as new evidence, and we would need their permission for the applicant to show the premises around.
Okay.
So we can't do that. Okay, well that's fine. Thank you. In which case, Gary, I do have just a couple of very quick questions for you. The first question with regards delivery, and I was just wondering if you could add, because I believe you are intending to provide a delivery service.
So yeah, we don't have our own delivery service, Dominic. We don't have a delivery service at our current site either on WBR. What we have is we have Uber and Deliveroo, and that's really it. Bulk of our I must say, bulk of our takeaway business is literally takeaway. It's local customers who ring us, place an order, and come in and collect. So I would say on the takeaway side, the biggest chunk is actually neighborhood customers walking in and collecting.
Okay, if I could stop you just for 1 second, thank you. So my actual question is this: for the delivery provisioning, would you be intending to sell alcohol through delivery, or is it just pizza or other baked goods only?
When you say delivery, I'm not quite sure what you mean. Do you mean Uber Eats and Deliveroo?
Yes.
Okay, so our wine list at the moment at our current site is available on Deliveroo and on Uber Eats. I would say we get very, very few orders with wine on it because it tends to be quite expensive to add it on. So I would say out of 100 orders, we might get 2 orders which have a bottle of wine on it. But that's the delivery side of it. With takeaway, it's a bit different because when customers walk in and they are waiting for a pizza, they may look at the wines and say, oh, I'll grab a bottle of wine to go with my pizza. That's usually what happens. But again, I would say that it doesn't happen that often. Sometimes they might sit there and wait and get a glass of wine whilst they're waiting to collect their pizza. But most of the wine is consumed when people are eating pizza on our premises, I would say, or eating brunch in the day.
That's fine. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, so my next question is, I believe you want to have 2 tables and 4 chairs externally.
That is correct, yes.
Yeah, I was just wondering because I don't know the area. It's kind of like the back of my hand, but I am familiar with it. I was just wondering where you were intending to put those, because from my understanding of it, the pavement is a public pavement, and there's no specific, to use the word that my colleague often uses, the curtilage. You don't have an area that belongs to yourself, or
that is correct. That is correct.
Okay, so where would you be intending for the table and chairs to go?
Just on the outside of the shop, exactly how everybody else in this street is done. So if you come down Fulham Road, pretty much every cafe, restaurant on our side, which is on the on the odd number side, they have pretty much 2 tables and 4 chairs outside. So if I look at Joe and the Juice next to us, I'm looking at a few other bakeries down the road as well. Further down towards Munster Road, there are a couple of cafes and restaurants. They all have exactly the same thing, pretty much, which is two tables and a couple of chairs outside.
So you're on a corner.
Yes.
So and you're on the corner with is it Mimosa?
With Mimosa, but we wouldn't put anything on the Mimosa side because A, it's residential, and B, we've got the door going upstairs to the flats, and we haven't applied for that anyway. What we have applied for is for the front, for the Fulham Road side of it.
Okay, that's great. So moving on, sort of staying with the external bits, queuing. Do you have certainly in your experience of your other store, do you have much queuing at
I'll
any
be
time?
honest, do, but it's always usually in the mornings around 8 o'clock, which is the peak time for us as a business, especially on the weekends. So on a Saturday morning around 9 o'clock, I would say. On a weekday, it could be on a Monday morning is usually 8. That's when people are queuing up for coffee and croissants. That's the time when there's a queue. I've never seen a queue in the evenings ever. Not for pizza. I wish there was, but there is never a queue for pizza.
Fine. And how would you be managing that queue? Where would people queue from?
In the mornings when they queue, I mean, we've just opened here, so it's hard to tell. I mean, we haven't really had much of a queue, maybe 2 or 3 people outside the door. But if there were more in the morning, I guess they would just queue up outside on the pavement, just in front of the shop. But the queue moves very quickly because it's just literally people just wanting coffees and a croissant.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Chair, I don't actually have any more questions just now. I may have some more subsequently. But I will pass over to other members of the committee to ask their questions for the moment.
Thank you, Councillor. Thank you. Councillor Kwon, do you have any question to ask?
I do. This is to the applicant, Gary, again. There have been concerns raised by a few residents regarding the closing time and sort of concerns about potential noise and so on. Some of that obviously will depend on how many people are leaving at once, but secondly, the responsibility falls on either you or your staff who will be present at closing time. How do you propose to manage this to address the concerns that have been expressed about sort of noisy people leaving, sort of taking alcohol with them, and sort of other worries that have been raised?
To be honest, first of all, we make it very clear to anybody who's leaving late. I mean, like I said, we're not open that late. I mean, even though technically we are open till 10:30, the kind of business we are, we don't, even at our current site, we are open till 10. We are very, very rarely busy past 9 o'clock. In the event that we are, it happens on a Friday evening if the weather is really nice. We have never had a problem, I'll be honest. We tell our customers to be obviously quiet when they leave the premises. Where we are right now, we have 3 flats upstairs. We've been there for 4 years. We've never had a single complaint from anybody about any noise from anybody leaving the premises. Usually at that time, we have a maximum of maybe 3 members of staff working. They will always exit from the main door, not from the back at that time. So there is no noise in the rear of the property because that's closer again to the residents behind. We would always ask them to leave from the main door. So there is again, no chance of people getting disturbed at the rear. Again, it's something which we have every intention of being good neighbors, and from my experience, we've not really had any problems at all. We've got a big outdoor terrace where we are right now, almost 20 covers. Never ever had a problem with anybody making a noise or staying late and drinking, because we're just not that kind of establishment. I don't know how to explain, but we don't attract young, I'm nothing against young people, but we don't attract the kind of profile that might want to hang around and drink and party. It's just not the vibe of the place, to be honest.
If you had an occasion, for example, though, where I don't know, you had a party of 6 or 8 people who were there together and then left sort of at once. Is this the kind of thing that you have training on, or because obviously it's not your regular clientele, but there might be occasions where you have large groups that leave at once late at night, just as the premises is closing?
As part of the license training anyway, we all our managers who deal with the evening shift, they are very much aware of the requirements of where we are, what the business requirements are, and what we have to do as a good citizen of this area, and they are aware of how not to serve alcohol to anybody who's already first of all, we'd stop serving alcohol if somebody was looking inebriated, that they already know. We're very aware of telling our customers to be quiet, not just when they're leaving the premises, but like even if the door is open for any reason, for example, because it's warm and somebody wants the door open, to not be noisy or especially on the exit. So we always have trained people, like our staff who deal with the evening shift are always the more experienced ones, and they go through specific training. We also agree this with the police in terms of the requirement of who to serve alcohol to, how to serve it, how to check whether they're doing the right thing, but even offering it. So we are aware of that requirement anyway, and we make sure that our staff that are working in the evenings are not like 18-year-olds. They're always going to be somebody mature on site who can deal with, because as you said, you could have the one event where somebody shows up and doesn't behave themselves very well. So you need somebody experienced and mature on site who can deal with it, and that's absolutely part of the plan.
Thank you. I don't have any further questions at this point, Chair.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Gary, you had few temporary events. How did it go?
Very quiet at the moment. We've just literally, unfortunately, because I didn't know when exactly we were going to open, the first event license was actually pretty much wasted because we didn't open at the time. I had to take a view on when we may open at the earliest possible date. So the first week we weren't actually open. The second one is we literally opened 4 days ago. So and we are only open at the moment until 7 p.m. We're waiting to obviously resolve this. I must say, I think might have sold like maybe 3 beers and 4 glasses of wine in the last 4 days. Mostly in the day, on the weekend, when people just want to come and have a glass of wine with their brunch or something, or not the brunch with the piece of quiche or a sandwich. But at the moment, it's very, very low on the alcohol sales, but that's to be expected. I mean, yeah, that's we are a bakery, so it's part of the deal not to people are not going to come and drink a whole bottle of wine at lunchtime, unfortunately.
Yeah, you mentioned you're going to have a few supervisors for the door. So how many supervisors are you going to be having?
How many supervisors?
Yes.
So in the business, because with the 2 stores, we actually have a total of 5 supervisors at the moment. We are recruiting a supervisor just for the evening business here. Somebody with experience and skill, because we just want to make sure that the person who runs the evening business, like I said before, has the maturity, has experience. So we're looking at some very strong candidates at the moment. I'm actually sitting here with my HR lady, my HR manager, Laura. She's here. She's our HR manager, and she's helping us recruit at the moment. And she's got some really good candidates up her sleeve. So yes.
At the moment, how many yes, capacity, how many people can you have within the cafe?
I would say full capacity would be about 28 to 30, I reckon. So it's not that massive. I mean, because our counters, I know I'm not supposed to show you the property, but I'm sitting here and you can see behind me. Because the counters take up a lot of space, unfortunately. So with the display, with the pastries and cakes and everything else, there isn't that much room. So we have a bit of space in the back, the table that I'm seated on, and space downstairs. But the bulk of the downstairs is the kitchen. So it's not that many. It's about, like I said, 28, 30 at best.
Do you have a back garden?
No, unfortunately not.
Okay. The other thing is, in case you have, how will you deal with somebody that is drunk, that comes into the place and it goes drunk? How will you be able to manage that person? I know my colleague, councillor, one of the councillors asked that question.
To be honest, we've had that happen just once on our current premises, so we do have a little bit of experience with that. We actually have a manager on site who lives upstairs over there. So it was, of course, here we don't have that, but we instantly escalated to the manager. We try and escort the person off the premises in a kind, gentle way. We've never had to call the police or 911 or the ambulance or anything like that ever so far, but that will be the next course. If obviously things get unpleasant in any way, then that's what we would be doing. But we have had the one experience where we did manage to escort the person off the premises very gently, very kindly, just saying that, I'm sorry, but we can't serve you, and you need to go home, and just make sure that they're walking off in a responsible-ish manner. They're not going to land up on the road or anything like that. And that's what we've done. Yeah.
Okay. In terms of delivery, I know in terms of having to have your food delivered, what time are you thinking of? Because the residents from what some of the things I read, they're worried about delivery. If you have delivery in the evening or during the night when people are sleeping, so how does your delivery? How do you deal with the delivery?
So like I said before, we actually don't have our own delivery service. We don't have our own, like a lot of pizza places, for example, the typical pizzas will have their own scooters and stuff. We don't have any of that.
No, not that one. Not that. And the main, if you are bulky food coming in.
Oh, you mean the inward delivery coming to us?
Yes.
Actually, to be honest, we're not baking as much on our premises here. Most of the baking is done on our current premises. So here we just have a brunch kitchen and a pizza kitchen, and a little bit of pastry, which is more decorating. So we're not bringing in big amounts. Like over there, we get lots of flour and sugar and butter and all kinds of stuff delivered. We don't actually have bulky deliveries here. So what we are finding is mainly fruit and veg and dairy. The dairy company do deliver early morning, but they have the keys to the front door. So they open the front door, the driver has access to our property. That's how they always work. And they come in from the front, so there's no disturbance. They have been coming actually already this week. And to the best of my knowledge, it's been absolutely fine and quiet. And the other thing is, the other one is fruit and veg. They come much later. They don't come that early. The dairy comes much earlier. They're the only two regular deliveries. Apart from that, we get things like coffee, which we get in the day. Most of the other guys will come during the day, like normal delivery, like 8 to 4 kind of timing. It's just the dairy and the milk that comes early.
Another thing is people talked about collecting the waste. So how will you deal with the waste? I know the council.
The council, I'm sorry to say this, but the council has been actually extremely disappointing on this front for us. We have a bin store at our current site, and I lobbied for the longest time to get the council to come and collect from the bin store. The bin store was actually a fantastic thing that we had because it keeps it all tidy, out of sight, doesn't bother anybody. But they refused. They did it for the first 6 months. And then after COVID, they changed their rules and they said we had to put everything outside on the main road, which actually is what we do there. And it's the same story here, which is actually very frustrating because it's unsightly. As a local resident, I hate it. I walk my dog in the night and everybody has their bags outside and I think it's awful. I actually escalated it to the head of the commercial recycling. But unfortunately, they in the end, they turned around and they said they couldn't do anything about it. So we are having no choice but put our waste on the main road like everybody else. We try and delay it as much as possible. Now, obviously, right now we are closing at 7, so we are having to put it out by 7:30, which is not great because nobody collects it before. I think they collect after 9 o'clock, from what I remember. So it's kind of lying there for 2.5 hours. But once we open late, it's actually better in some ways because we're not going to put the waste out until much later. So there won't be a big lag between when we put it out and when it gets collected. So there'll be a very, so we try and, once we know our a new routine, I reckon we'll put it out around 10 o'clock maybe, and then it should be collected by 11:30, 12, I believe is the latest that they collect. So they'll be on the main road,
Yeah. Thank you so much. Please, committee member, anyone have more questions to ask?
Just a couple of questions, Chair. Firstly, Gary, 2 questions for you. The first was that your music I could hear in the background?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, thank you. And the second is, sorry, could you just refresh my memory? How long is it you have been open for now at this site?
5 days.
Okay, 5 days.
Yeah.
Okay, well, my question is to Julian then, and with 5 days of experience, it may not be very helpful. I was just wondering if I could have your initial impressions of your new neighbour over the last 5 days, if there have been any issues, noises, disturbances, etc.
Oh, thank you. 5 days is not a great sample size, but it's a good point. No, she's been, well, the new neighbour's been super duper, no problems. There was a few bangs and pots and whatnot, I think early one morning, earlier in the week, but nothing close to what I'm used to from a delivery into a Stardust shop around the corner where they've got a rough old refrigeration unit on the top of a lorry that'll wake me up. So far good. So
thank you very much.
As an objector, I'm not a very good one, but there you go.
I make no comment. Thank you. Thank you. Chair, that's it for me. Thank you very much. And thank you, everybody, for your comment.
Thank you very much. Any more question from committee member? Councillor Bora, any questions?
Not from me, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, in that case, I think we're going to go on sum up, and please, can I have the parties to sum up in 3 minutes? And the following order: the licensing officer, the objector, then the applicant. So can we start with licensing officer? Lorna, have you got any 3 minutes to sum up?
Nothing further to add, Chair.
Thank you, thank you. Okay, can I ask Julian? Julian, have you got any 3 minutes to sum up, please?
Yeah, my main concern really is the longevity of what may be going on with the license, and I appreciate the baker's intentions, but if alcohol sales and or the license part of their business beyond 8 in the evening is that insignificant to their business, then why are they pushing so much for the license? So that's really my open question for everybody.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
That's
thank you very much, Julian. And okay, Gary, you have 3 minutes to sum up. Gary?
Sure, thank you.
Yeah.
Just addressing Julian's point first, Julian, as you can appreciate, it's just when you have somebody dining in and having a bottle of wine with pizza, we can't really go up to them 8 o'clock and say your bottle of wine is now gone and you've got to eat the rest of your meal without it. It's just literally not practical for us to have an offering where we can't really offer it beyond 8 o'clock when people are going to be wanting to eat pizza at 9 or 9:30 in the evening on certain days of the week. So it's not practical at all to not have that option. All I would say is that it's our intent very much, like I've said, everything about the business is local. Starting with me, a lot of our team, we employ almost 40 people as of the last payroll, which is a big number. And of the 40, I would say 32 from my last memory are fairly local, either living in SW6 or in Putney or in Hammersmith. So it's an extremely local business, but whichever way you look at it, we all care very much about where we live. Like I said, I have 20 neighbors who come here and shop, who all know me very well. I'd be very, very embarrassed if there was a problem with our premises in any way. If we were ever going to be accused of, or we were ever in bad, what should I say, in bad books because we had problems with our license because people were making a racket or making noise, that's the last thing I would ever want, because like I said, I'm extremely local myself and I'm extremely conscious about how important these things are. So if it ever comes to that, we will have to change something for sure, and we will change it. So all I would say is that our intent is to be a good neighbor. Our intent is never to cause any problem for anybody in the neighborhood. And honestly, I mean, I don't know what else to say. So, and we have experience, right? And I keep saying this, like we have a track record of having a living business, which is 10 minutes away. And we've not had a single problem, even once in 4 years. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Gary. And now deliberation. The committee will now retire to take a decision in a separate room. An adjournment tile will be displayed during deliberation. You are welcome to remain in the meeting to hear a committee's decision. However, this might take some time. If you don't want to wait, a summary decision will be published on council website tomorrow morning. Can I ask members to turn off their video, mute their microphone, and join me in the meeting room? Okay.
Chair, everyone is here.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. The Bridge Bakery, Bridge Baker, 811 Fulham Road, London's SW6 5HG, the premises. The committee has considered an application for a new premises license for the sale of alcohol, both on and off premises, under the Licensing Act 2003. The application, in summary, the committee has decided, after taking into account all the individual circumstances of the case and the promotion of 4 licensing objectives. 1, to grant the application by imposing the licensable hours proposed by the licensing department, agreed by the applicant, Monday to Sunday, 11 o'clock to 22 to 30 hours. Second, 2, opening hours of the premises are follows: Monday to Sunday, 7 o'clock to 23 hours. Third, to impose conditions proposed by the police and agreed by the applicant. 4, to impose conditions about litter, further conditions regarding the training of staff, conditions regarding the sale of alcohol on premises website. A copy of this committee's full decision, including its reasons and full text of the condition added to the licensing, will be sent to parties forthwith. If any party is unhappy with the decision, they are entitled to appeal to the magistrate court within 21 days from the date of notification of the full decision. I would like to thank everyone for attending or watching tonight's meeting. A summary decision will be published on our website tomorrow. Thank you very much.